Leading the field down to the Motegi Endurance Challenge would be Luke Walker, the 100 car. On his outside, James O'Shea in the 03. 150 laps the race distance, lots of time to make your way to the front. Off into turn 1, Luke Walker has the lead. Matthew Stringer trying to slip into second, but James O'Shea coming back on the outside. Great battle here to start off the race. James O'Shea trying to lead the first lap. Both of these drivers are heat winners, going for it right now as the field begins to fan out 3 wide. Off of turn 4, it's going to be Luke Walker leading lap 1. We had a very close call off of turn 4. Skylar Dixon got into Pichu London, who got into Spencer Fullerton. Pichu London would slap the wall, but all would continue. Alright, all 36 cars still running in one very large group right now. O'Shea not content with running second for any time at all. He gets to the inside of Walker onto the back straightaway, and through turns 3 and 4 he has the optimal line and will grab the lead. He will lead lap 2. Richard Trelinsky slips into second. O'Shea would continue to lead for the next couple of laps as the battle for the second continued. Spencer Fullerton up into second. Bejanoff, the points leader, already up to third in the 13 car, battling it out with second in points Skylar Dixon in the 96. Spencer and James O'Shea continue to battle for first position. Spencer's going to get it off of turn 1. Coming on to that lap, however, Mike Doan got into Jeffrey Fingai and it would send him down into the inside wall. He took a bit of a hard lick, but surprisingly enough, not too much damage on that 20 car. Despite a big dive from William Duncan getting into turn 3, Spencer Fullerton would lead the field down to the caution flag. After completing his 2-tire pit stop, Spencer Fullerton would look to go back on the racetrack. Paul Swanson had to go into his pit stop. The two collided, and Spencer Fullerton was sent into the back of Skylar Dixon. That destroyed his motor. The leader is already out of the race on lap 8. And Dumian, with a great pit stop, moves from 6th to the lead. She would lead the field back to the green flag just 10 laps into the race. And into turn 3, let the battle commence. Matthew Nicholson on his inside, Johnny Appleseed making it 3 wide off of the corner. Ophelia's got a decent run off the corner. Ophelia leads the lap. Appleseed on a charge, though, towards the front. Appleseed will take the lead. It's already becoming strategy time, I guess. Alex Allen, William Nicholson, Paul Swanson, Sawyer Girl, and Pichu London bring it into the pits early, trying to gain a couple laps on their competitors, but already we have a crash. Coming into turn 3, Alex Tankard shoved Mark Nutt up into the wall. Mark was planning on going down in the pits, made some contact with Scott Batista and Kyle Cisnowski, sending Cisnowski into the wall. He has quite a bit of rear end damage, but he would continue. 9 cars stayed out. Coming out of the pits, Scott Batista would get into the back of Matthew Stringer as he was exiting his pit stall. He would go for a quick spin, but would continue. He now has a little bit of front end damage, not too bad for Scott Batista. Should be able to keep pace. Jacob Young leads the field back to the green flag. One of the 9 cars that stayed out. Gerald Reddington and Dakota Honecker among those guys as well. Gerald already going to the front with a big push from Dakota Honecker. No one goes with Jacob Young. That's surprising. You'd think that some people would want to draft with the veteran early on here. As now Dakota Honecker goes for the lead on Reddington. Into 3, Dakota Honecker has got it. A lap after the restart, we've already got some cars in. Johnny Appleseed and Chris Washer. I don't know whether they're just trying to play a different strategy than the rest of them, or whether they actually have a problem. But either way, both of them would go back on track after a pit stop. Maybe they blew tires or something. Either way, if this is strategy, it's an extremely poor one, because both of them are going to go a lap down, and there's no way this is going to work unless there's a long green flag run, which I can't see happening with that many cars still on the racetrack. In the next couple of laps, Young would charge his way back to the front to tie dent on his rear bumper along with Paul Swanson. Over the next couple of laps, a few more cars would pit, Matthew Stringer and Mike Doan notably, as already you can see the consequences of that pit strategy as Johnny Appleseed is being put a lap down. Dakota Honecker wants to lead back. These two have traded the lead several times over the course of the last few laps. Damir Bejanoff back up into 3rd position. He made a pit stop, and he is charging his way back to the front. Another great run from our points leader. Bezhanov would grab the lead about a lap later. Appleseed charging, trying to make his way back up in front of Demir in case a caution comes out. He wants his lap back. Johnny would get by, and this would help William Duncan get by as well, as when Bezhanov was stuck on the outside, Duncan was able to slip his nose underneath him, and he is by back into the race lead. TJ Dent up into second to go to Honecker, trying to make his way back up into third, as Appleseed is once again put a lap down. It's going to be a hard battle for Appleseed this race. A couple of laps later, TJ Dent shuffles his way into the lead. Ophelia and Dumian coming back to the front as Carl and Dumian and William Duncan get together there. That could have been a lot bigger than it was. Coming down into turn 3, we are 4 wide inside the top 10. That isn't going to work. Dixon and Young and Honecker got together. Dent and Honecker go for a spin, and Dixon nearly goes back right in front of the field. All others would be alright. Everyone continues. After a good pit stop, Johnny Finguy in the 42, who was very recently near the back of the field, would lead the field back to the green flag. Richard Trelinsky now on his inside. He will take the lead through turn 2. Terrence Day trying to make his way up into second here. Once again, we have some odd pit strategies. TJ Dent tries to make his way into the pits. Oh, Johnny Finguy is going to try as well. Oh, he's not going to make it. Johnny Finguy hard into the pit wall. Luckily, everyone avoids him. Oh, except for Matthew Stringer. Matthew Stringer. This is the second time he's been caught out in a 3-wide battle, and he now has engine damage and is done for the day. While under this caution, Tyler Faber would blow a motor. He is done for the day. Most of the leaders would come in under that pit stop, leaving Johnny Appleseed actually in front of the leader, who is now Scott Batista in the 91, who is slightly damaged. Appleseed, this is his prime time to get his lap back. If he's going to do it, well, he's just got to keep himself there until there's another wreck. And as they say, cautions breed cautions. You may have wondered where the field went. That was Jeffrey Finguy. He's been very slow ever since he got wrecked to cause the first caution, and he held up pretty much everyone 10th on back. This separation may actually help create a longer green flag stint, which this race desperately needs. It's getting pretty crazy. Terrence Day and TJ Dent are into the pits. Why? They're both going to go a lap down because of their interesting pit calls. Meanwhile, back out front, Jacob Young has shuffled his way into the lead. William Duncan in second, and Demir Bezhanov into third position as he gets by Scott Batista in the 91. Before we could get another larger green flag stint, James O'Shea and Skylar Dixon would make some contact. The Skylar would slide back up the track, taking out Matthew Nicholson and Mark Nutt. Mark Nutt would hit the inside wall just a little bit. Nicholson would avoid the wall altogether. Dixon is out of the race. This could be a huge points day for Bezhanov if he stays where he is. Ilya Bondarenko will lead the field back to the green flag, but Duncan would grab the lead on the back straightaway. Duncan into the lead for, I think this is the third or fourth time this race. Under this caution, Andreas Allen would go out of the race from an engine problem. Meanwhile, Jacob Young finally comes into the pits. Jacob Young has been staying out many of the pit stops, and he must be out of fuel finally, as Appleseed also comes in. Once again, there might be something actually wrong with his car this time. Young's still on the lead lap for now. Appleseed going another lap down as he comes out right in front of the field and causes a big stack up. And Gerald Reddington, Matthew Nicholson would get together. Terrence Day was collected along with Mark Nutt. Richard Trelinsky got a piece. Ty Dent, Pichu London in the wall. Ophelia and Dumian got a tiny piece of that. I think Luko Rovac was squished into the wall there. And we're under caution once again. More shenanigans on pit lane. Scott Batista tries to exit his pit stall as Michael Caine's coming in. The two shove and bump. This is actually the second time they've collided in the race. The first one was much more minor than this one. Scott Batista is going to come back in and lose the hood on that car. Michael Caine is also going to have to come in to repair damage. Alex Allen would lead the field back to the green flag. Scarily enough, the very slow car of Jeffrey Finguy would restart second. He didn't come into the pits, was one of the few not to, and because of that, he starts right up front, and he's causing quite a stack up amongst the leaders. Soon after the restart, Damir Bezhanov would get by Alex Allen, would take the race lead. I think I forgot to mention earlier on, Michael Caine is now a lap down as a result of that contact with Scott Batista in the pits. As Carl Endumian goes for the lead, both Alex Tanker and William Duncan are now a lap down. They either had a flat tire or, again, trying to do something strange with pit strategy, because they came into the pits to change 2 tires. Bezhanov would lead for the next 6 laps or so. He used Appleseed as kind of a barrier between himself and the rest of the field. Appleseed, however, wants his lap back. He got to the inside of Bezhanov, got around him, and Chris Washer used that as a pick to get by Bezhanov himself. Chris Washer held the lead for a second, but Carl Endumian is now battling him for it. Damir helping Endumian on the low side. You'd think these guys would be a little bit more patient than they're being, considering the length of this race. Bezhanov, especially veterans like Bezhanov, but Bezhanov once again challenges Endumian for the lead in a 3-wide battle off of 4 that continues all the way down to the front straightaway into turn 1 and 2. Bezhanov back into the lead. Chris Washer is loving the battle between Appleseed and Bezhanov over Appleseed's lap, and he once again gets by Bezhanov due to Appleseed. Chris Washer into the lead for, I think, the 2nd or 3rd time this race. While back in the second pack, Terrence Day and Richard Trelinsky got together. Richard Trelinsky up in the air, Paul Swanson collected, and Matthew Nicholson hard into Richard Trelinsky as Richard Trelinsky flies through the air and gets slammed in the right front by Nicholson. All 4 of these cars are out of the race. Trelinsky needed some help getting out of that car, but he is okay, luckily. Everyone came in during that pit stop cycle, and Washer will lead the field back to the green flag. Bondarenko up into 2nd, and Luko Brovac back up into the top 3. Finguy once again with a surprisingly good pit stop. Now he's holding up both lines at once. He holds up Michael Caine, goes to the outside as they fan out 3 wide, trying to get around Finguy. Off of the corner, William Duncan into Finguy, around the go. Appleseed collected, Reddington, Alex Tanker, they crash again into the outside wall. All 4 of these guys would continue, they all now have damage though. More crashing up ahead as Alex Allen gets into Luke Walker. Allen slides up himself into Carl Endumian, and Walker and Allen go for a spin. Washer and Bondarenko in under that pit cycle, and Ophelia Endumian leads the field back to the green flag. We're just about halfway through the race. Psst. Could we get a green flag run, guys? Brovac now into 2nd position as Nicholson is in 3rd. Bezhanov in 4th. So we come to halfway this lap. Another car came into the pit, Sawyer Girl. He's not quite a lap down yet, but will be if this turns into a green flag run. Luko Brovac leads at the halfway mark. 75 down, 75 to go. Endumian back by Obrovac the following lap as TJ Dent races with Obrovac to try and get his lap back. TJ Dent probably one of the fastest out of the lap cars that came into the pits for some reason. Dent has got a long way to go. Bezhanov would take the lead from Endumian a few laps later, as it looks like maybe, just maybe, we might be able to get into a green flag run here. Points leader would pull away from 2nd on back as they continue to battle until TJ Dent runs him down trying to get his lap back. Carl Endumian uses him a pick as they come up on the very slow car of Gerald Reddington. Pick a line, Reddington, come on! As Carl Endumian is the only car to get by without checking up. Mike Doan by, he's a lap down. Jacob Young and Ilya Bondarenko by as they would eventually all get by. Back would eventually chase down Carl Endumian, Young battling with him on the inside. Bondarenko follows him through into second place. Wouldn't be too long before Bondarenko would get the lead in the 77, and a couple laps later, Bezhenov back to the front. The Kazakh driver doing very well today. Young trying to follow him through. Field sneaks by Finn guy, who luckily actually chose a line. Young takes the first position away from Bezhenov. Karl Endumian passes Jacob Young about a lap later. Michael Caine up into the mix trying to get his lap back, along with lead lap teammate Luko Brovac, who should be going for the race win today. Bondarenko gets into the inside of Young. That's an aggressive move by Brovac. That's the kind of stuff that the officials warned him about doing. Brovac did not hit anyone there, so he shouldn't receive a penalty, but if he keeps driving like that, I can't see him going the next 5 races without something stupid happening. There's now a lot of intermingling between the lap cars and the lead lap cars. Both Appleseed and Michael Caine are currently past the race leader, who is now Jacob Young. TJ Dent now trying to become the 3rd car to pass lap car to get in front of the leaders. These guys need a caution right now, as they block both. TJ didn't even look to make it 3 wide for a second. Young currently leads. Bezhenov would slip along the bottom, trying to skate around these lap cars as quick as possible, because he's got Ophelia Endumian, who is still on the lead lap, on his bumper. An interesting situation arises as they come up on Gerald Reddington. The whole pack just split Reddington through the middle. Ty Dent was the only car that had any problem whatsoever, along with Pichu London, on getting by Reddington. That was an incredible move by this field. It shows the professionality of these drivers, as Bezhenov finally gets by TJ Dent to put all lap cars and keep them a lap down. Kazakh driver would once again run away with it until TJ Dent ran him down, forcing him to the outside into the lesser preferred line. Bezhenov very good on the inside, not so good on the outside. So far, Karl Endumian into first position. Bondarenko now going for the lead, as they are once again sitting behind TJ Dent in the 18 car. Field will then put down Pichu London and James O'Shea a lap. Those 2 drivers recently came into the pits. They're predicting a green flag run that may last to the finish, so they wanted to perhaps try a different strategy. They know their cars may not be fast enough to battle it out for the win naturally, so why not try fiddle around with the pit strategy. Young and Bondarenko continue to battle out for the lead, racing around TJ Dent, the lap car. Young grabs the lead for now. Now comes up on Chris Washer and Sawyer Girl, a couple of drivers trying to stay on the lead lap here, trying out some different pit strategies. Young gets around Girl, still battling Chris Washer for that position as he continues to lead. Field really starting to struggle with these lap cars. Reddington and Finn Guy go another lap down. Nicholson into the back of Obrovac. Obrovac comes back up the track, showing his displeasure with Nicholson there by giving him a quick bump in the door. Both of these drivers can continue. Obrovac's again got to be careful about what he does. Endumian to the inside of Young. It's becoming harder and harder to pass on the inside as tires begin to wear and fuel tanks begin to drain. Bezhenov uses this opportunity to retake the lead from Karl Endumian, just a lap or so after Endumian got around Young. Bondarenko and Bezhenov now battle it out for the lead. As there's some tire smoke up ahead, we've got a caution. The green flag run is unfortunately over. Scott Batista and Dakota Honecker got together in a 3-wide battle with Alex Tanker. Tanker got a piece as Luke Walker slams the wall. Bezhenov leads the field back to the green flag. Bondarenko and Endumian pitted. Other than that, not too many other people did. No, never mind, Bondarenko didn't. It was just Ophelia Endumian. All of these guys trying to stretch it out just a little bit longer. They want to make it so that they only have 1 pit stop to make in the remainder of this race. A pair of slow cars tangled as Batista, who's miraculously still on the lead lap, gets together with TJ Dent. TJ Dent turns Batista up the track, right into the path of Ophelia Endumian. Ophelia Endumian went into pit under that last caution, and she paid the price for it there. That Velvet Works racing car is destroyed. As they came to take the caution flag, William Duncan's engine expired after nearly 200 miles of racing. Under this caution, all of the leaders came in to pit road except for Bezyanov. They've all made their final pit stops. Bezyanov's out of fuel. The points leader, desperately trying to get fuel in that motor, shaking it back and forth, nearly merges into the field there. Bezyanov can't get any fuel into that car. Look out! Tanker into the back of him. Tanker goes for a spin. Jeffrey Finguy gets another piece of damage. Bezyanov with a lot of rear end damage, and he'll have to coast it all the way back around as the caution is back out. On the way back to the flag, Bondarenko, who recently took the lead after Bezyanov's little departure there, would be overtaken by Young coming down to the caution flag. Actually isn't going to be overtaken. At the line, it's Young's going to lead the field down to the caution flag. Under this caution, everyone else has enough fuel to for the rest of the to go the rest of the way. Bezyanov is the only car in pit road. He goes a lap down, fixing damage and getting fuel into that car, trying to get it fired. He gets it refired, but he is now a lap down, and that ruins what could have been a great points day for that team. Young leads the field back to the green flag. Just 29 laps to go now. Bondarenko on his back bumper. He goes for the lead. Ty Dent, I believe, is in third. Nicholson fourth, and Obrovac currently rounds out the top five. Bondarenko would lead for the next 5 laps or so as Obrovac made his way up in a second and then into the lead. Jeffrey Finguy, I think I forgot to mention, is out of the race from the contact with Damir Bezyanov's bumper in that last incident. I'm sure that's a bit of a sigh of relief for the leaders, as Finguy was one of the slowest cars on the track and a constant nuisance for these guys to get around. Bondarenko would sweep into the lead with some help from the lap car, Chris Washer. Chris Washer trying to get his lap back along with a lot of guys. Just 11 cars on the lead lap right now, and I believe 23 on the track, so more than half the field left in the race is 1 lap down, trying to get that lap back. Obrovac, though, strong on the outside, gets around Washer, and now Washer assists Obrovac to the lead. Washer's just following whoever is fastest, trying to follow them by and perhaps challenge them to get his lap back. The pack now comes up on a pair of slow cars, Gerald Reddington and Luke Walker. Both of these guys are 4 seconds a lap off the pace. Massively off the pace. Carl Endumian and Nicholson to Obrovac's inside. Carl Endumian slides back to third. Nicholson going for the lead now as Reddington and Walker hold up both lines. This is going to cause quite a stack up. Probably 16 to 20 cars all in this big pack, racing nose to tail. This cannot end well. Bondarenko's trying to slip around on the outside. Carl Endumian makes it 4 wide. There's some contact. A lot of the leaders have crashed, along with quite a few lap cars, as Nicholson will lead the the remainder of the field down to the caution flag. Some of the fastest cars on the racetrack were collected in this, as Washer, Endumian, Obrovac, and Bondarenko get together. That takes out Walker, Washer, Michael Kane gets a piece, Pichu London got a piece, Obrovac with quite a lot of damage, Appleseed, Bondarenko, I think Dakota Honecker got a piece, Kyle Sosnowski once again involved. A lot of cars now have damage. William Nicholson, who has damage himself, may be one of the fastest cars on the track now. William Nicholson leads the field back to the green flag. He's got a couple of lap cars between himself and second place Jacob Young. Jacob Young almost definitely faster than that car. Nicholson has some damage. Young undamaged. He wasn't even involved in that wreck. As these guys have put a considerable gap between themselves and the rest of the field. A big stack up behind them, as TJ Dent gets around Young, as Young and Nicholson battle for first position. We come down to the line. Oh, the caution's out! TJ Dent is going to become the first driver to get his lap back with just 12 laps to go. It'll be interesting to see how many positions he can make up in that car. Dakota Honecker and Carl Endumian get together. That sends Scott Batista down into the inside wall. He comes back up the track into Kyle Sosnowski and the outside wall. All drivers continue. I believe I forgot to mention earlier in the last crash that Luke Walker would go out of the race. 9 laps to go. William Nicholson's going to lead the field down to what would be the final restart. Oh, Nicholson's slow. Jacob Young is on his back bumper. Mike Doan already trying to go. Nicholson's very slow. He's lost a cylinder, or maybe 4. I don't know what the heck's going on with that car right now. But he is very, very slow. And Jacob Young, perhaps one of the fastest cars on the track, is being held up by him. Big stack up. Lots of 3 and 4 wide racing as everyone tries to get around him. Ty Dent really held up, along with Chris Washer and Alex Tanker. The very damaged Luka Obrovac would be the first car to get by successfully. Obrovac's got 8 laps to hold these guys off. Mark Nutt in second again. He's damaged as well. Bonarenko in third. He has damage. I think every car on track at this point has some sort of damage. Meanwhile, we found out what's happened to William Nicholson in the 56. He has lost 4th gear. Unfortunate for him, he's having a great run and he will surely be lapped. Even though there's only 9 laps, he's running lap times 8 seconds off the pace of the leaders. I don't know whether that's even legal, but Nicholson's still out on course. Just 5 laps to go now. Bonarenko in second position, trying to work his way past Obrovac along the inside. Mark Nutt in third. Jacob Young still nowhere to be. Oh, there he is in 4th place. He is charging his way towards the front. He was quite a few seconds behind Obrovac. As TJ Dent's also up into the top 5. Incredible that he's able to make up that many spots in such a short time period. They now come up to lap Nicholson for the first time. Obrovac still has the lead in the 3 car. The 22, though, of Jacob Young is right on his back bumper. He's going to have to hold him off for these last 3 laps. Young already challenging Obrovac for the lead into turns 3 and 4, coming to 2 laps to go now. TJ Dent is in the top 3. TJ Dent, I don't know whether he has any damage. TJ Dent may be the only undamaged car on track. TJ Dent was a lap down, just with less than 15 laps to go, and now here he is challenging Jacob Young for the lead. Into turn 3 we come. As we're coming to the white flag, Mike Doan still trying to get his lap back. It's going to take a miracle, buddy. We come down to the white flag. Jacob Young with a good run. Young will lead at the white flag. Can TJ Dent use Mike Doan as a pick here? We'll have to see. Obrovac still looming in the background. Not sure whether he's going to be able to challenge, although with his aggressiveness, I can't imagine he won't challenge down in turn 3. TJ Dent clears Jacob Young, I believe. Yes, he has. He's using Mike Doan as a pick. Jacob Young can't really fight back on the outside right now thanks to Mike Doan. TJ Dent checks up a little bit. Jacob Young falls back and off of turn number 4. TJ Dent is going to win the Motegi Endurance Challenge. After 150 laps, he was a lap down with just 15 to go. Incredible performance by that 18 team. Jacob Young might have had that race in the bag if it wasn't for Mike Doan getting his lap back. Mike Doan, by the way, did get his lap back. He would he would finish 12th, believe it or not. Obrovac, with a lot of damage, he could have probably won his second straight race in a row. Probably a lot less controversial than Australia. He finishes 3rd. Mark Nutt in the 0, again damaged, 4th position for him. Carlin Dumian in the 1 is 5th rather. Ilya Bonarenko 6th. Alex Allen in 7th. Dakota Honecker in 8th. We didn't see much of him, but despite being slow, he gets a top 10. Ty Dent in the 83 will finish 9th. The 7 of Kyle Sosnowski, the only driver left in the field without a DNF this season, at least in feature races. He will come across the line in top 10. Great, he fought back from those early wrecks very well. And believe it or not, Scott Batista is going to finish 11th, the second to last car on the lead lap, with a completely destroyed back end, front end. You know, I think call that car a write-off. But Mike Doan will be the last car on the lead lap in 12th position.